Again, my name is Esther, and I lead the Affirmative Finance Action for Women in Africa, which is a Pan-African initiative of the African Development Bank to reduce the 42 billion financing gap for women entrepreneurs on the continent. And basically, the goal that we have set for ourselves is that within the next 5 to 6 years, we want to be able to unlock up to $5 billion worth of financing for women SMEs. The way in which we propose to do that is by working hand in hand, first of all, with financial institutions. And when I say financial institutions, we're talking about commercial banks, as well as meso and microfinance institutions, in getting them to be a bit more comfortable to lend to women. And that's leveraging our lines of credit, trade finance, and equity investments. But in addition to that, utilizing a guaranteeing mechanism that will lower, if you will, the collateral requirements for women when they come in. So it doesn't mean that women will be given collateral or completely collateral-free loans. No, it just means that instead of having to pull property, if you will, this guarantee can be leveraged to cover a huge portion of the risk, and would open up also opportunities for things like asset debentures and movable assets to be used to cover basically the loans that they are asking for. In addition to that, we will provide skills enhancements to women entrepreneurs to get them, first of all, to feel more comfortable into aspiring for much larger businesses. We don't have to remain small. Women entrepreneurs can lead strong, large businesses as well. And there are a few examples on the continent. But also in positioning them to negotiate better with their bankers, to understand the risk that they face as women entrepreneurs, and to be able to speak to how they go about mitigating those risks on a daily basis, which would make the financiers a lot more comfortable into lending to them. I think it's also important within this process to ensure that commercial banks and other financial institutions understand the difference between men-owned and women-owned businesses, and that they take those differences also in the types of products and services that they put out for the different SME segments. So we will also support financial institutions in this way. And lastly, for us, in order to make this work and to achieve the goals that we have set for ourselves, working with regulators and governments is also critical. And these are some of the things that have actually come out throughout the sessions of today. And so with that, ensuring that the right policies are in place to incentivize and encourage, depending on who we're talking about, incentivize financial institutions, encourage entrepreneurs into venturing more out there is critical. So this is really what the work that we do is about.
Oh, thank you. That was very information-packed. You answered the majority of our questions with that. So I think that one of the questions we have for you is, why exactly did you get started in this field? Because you seem very passionate talking about it.
It's a very long story. So before I came back to Africa, right, I was based in the US, and I actually worked for an institution called the Corporate Council on Africa, dealing with AGOA-related issues. And one of the frustrating points for me was seeing how many women entrepreneurs I had as potential clients that could fulfill some of the orders coming from US-based institutions or businesses. Unfortunately, the one major hurdle was financing. we would get the orders, but then in order for them to fill these big orders, they would need to go to the bank. They get to the bank, they can't get the financing for a number of different reasons. And that kind of led me to pay a bit more attention as to what the hurdles were, and to start thinking about how that could be, those hurdles could be addressed. And so that's how I got into the field. Seeing what women entrepreneurs can achieve when they're fully supported is amazing. We had women entrepreneurs who, once they got financing, were able to export tons of shea butter to the US via AGOA. I mean, even till this day, I remember very specifically a woman entrepreneur in Cameroon who was exporting readily made t-shirts to the US, and today automatically, when COVID happened, turned around and started producing masks in her factory. Wow. It's just amazing how much more the continent would benefit if women entrepreneurs were fully supported. And I think we're losing out so much because that support is not there. And so through AFAWA, this is what we want to do, and this is where this passion, if you will, is coming from.
Wow, that's very interesting, and I am very glad that you are doing this thing to inspire and help, the women, especially in Africa as well, who don't have access to those resources. Can you tell us your ideal roadmap for anyone that wants to follow in your footsteps?
Well, I think the first thing is get interested. There are differences, and very often I say it's not about gender equality so much than it is about a huge opportunity for development and growth, right? That is lost because we're not focusing on women taking into account their differences and addressing those. For me, yes, it's equality, but I think it goes above and beyond that. So for someone who would follow in my footsteps, I would say get interested in those questions, study them. Today, there are courses that focus on that. There are not nearly enough of us that really have seen or brought in, if you will, the right middle or the right mix between gender and the industry. And the more of us there are, the most likely these types of questions would be addressed. Today, we are in need of experts who can accompany the financial institutions through their journey, right, of addressing the needs of women entrepreneurs. And there are not that many out there.
Right.
I have an MBA, so you can finance plus gender, business plus gender, all these things, they work. But I think it's a question of really getting interested in the topic. You can be a banker and do something for women. You can be in development and do something for women. You can be in a very specific industry. For example, today we talk about gender and energy. Right? We talk about where is the opportunity for women within the value chain of agriculture, of tourism, and how do we now bring that knowledge with finance knowledge and the different risks that women face in order for us to provide the solution. So again, I think it's one, getting interested in the topic, two, of course, having the degrees, and then in everything that we do, finding that one opportunity that's there for women that we can develop.
Right. And I definitely do agree with you. And thank you for touching on that as well for our audience. So the last question I do have for you is, can you tell us your thoughts about the Legacy Global Summit?
So I think it's a great opportunity to bring in, the diaspora and those of us who are on the continent together. I was particularly impressed, for example, with all the conversations on trading and how it happens in the US and what are the lessons learned that we can incorporate in our day-to-day work, but also as businesses develop themselves and as they think about exporting to the US market, what do they really need to take into account as they plan on doing that? So I think that was an excellent platform for that. Also positioning the continent itself as a great business opportunity. I mean, for me, as I said, yes, COVID did happen, but today business is ongoing in the US, in Africa, sorry, right? There are still so many opportunities for innovation on the continent, and being able to bring those out and to speak about it on this platform was also a great opportunity. So I definitely think it's a fantastic platform to leverage, and hopefully it gets bigger.
Thank you very much, Miss Esther, and
Thank you.
hopefully we can stay in contact and
Sounds good.
make a difference together.
Absolutely.
All right, you have a great day.
You too.